Hello, fellow kart enthusiasts. Take note of the number 10 right there. They will be relevant to what I'm going to talk about during this video, as well as discuss the new portion of the Dallas Karting Complex. I am at the Dallas Karting Complex. I am on their rental track. I've been here about 6 times previous to this visit, but those were all when they only had the old section of track. This is a new section that's relatively freshly paved. When I say new since I've been here, it's probably about maybe 1 or 2 years old. So I have never driven on this portion of the Dallas Karting Complex. And this is my first lap out. This was shortly after Thanksgiving in Texas, so it wasn't super cold, but I do believe it was in the 50s this day, so I'm pretty sure that I had jumped into a kart that was just sitting. It had not run the previous race, so the tires were cold, and so I'm trying to get her warmed up there and stay on the track at the same time. We had pretty big heats. They were roughly 20 plus every time we went out, so it was a busy day. And I'm here with my son also. He's done a decent amount of karting in the last few years, so he's getting where he can actually hang with me on these rental kart tracks, and since he's about 40 pounds lighter, he can beat me on occasion. But I'm out clicking out. Like I said, this is my first lap. And what I'm going to talk about here is some of the expectations you get when you are a new karter versus what an experienced go-kart enthusiast might be thinking. Because out on this track, basically my son and myself were, in this heat, some of the fastest karts out there. I had about 20 karts full. There were about 2. There was me and my son, and then maybe 2 other karts that were roughly close to us in lap times. Everybody else was probably 3 to 4 to even 8, 9, 10 seconds slower than us a lap. But as you can see, I'm doing my best when I approach some of these karts to not run into people. But what I've found, later in this race, and I've had it happen at other times, I've been to probably about 50 rental car tracks across the U.S. So I've done this quite a lot. But you'll get the newer person who, they're there to have some fun. They want to race. They think they're going to be fast. I'm pretty sure the first time I went to a rental car track, I thought I was going to be, Mario Andretti out there just slaying everybody. But in reality, you're not going to be that fast. You're going to be decent. Possibly. Like some of these people weren't too bad, like this number 1 right here. And I believe that is the 10 right in front of her. So I thought the 10 was going to hang it out and go wide around that corner, but they actually took the correct line. So I was going to go under them, and they took, they ducked down into where they should have been going. And since the corner was kind of theirs, I locked them up to try not to touch them. And I did bump them a little bit, but it didn't really upset their lap, but it did mess up my lap. So my error, my screw up, and I suffered the issues right there. I suffered the bad lap time. Now, as a result of that bump, there were no black flags. So that activity with the different skill levels out there, I'm sure the Dallas Karting Complex employees realize that's kind of normal stuff. So, that was the last lap. I didn't get a good lap on that one, and I wasn't going to anyways because we pulled right off. Now we're about to head out onto the second race. My son and I did 3 laps apiece. They were 10-minute races, so they were pretty long. There was a lot of confusion with these people for where to enter the track. I went out in the right spot that time. The first time out, I did not. I followed the people in front of me, and that was not where they instruct you to enter the track, but they didn't do anything about it. So we're going. I'm going to show a pretty decent chunk of this race. Now on that first race, I think my son finished second and I finished 4th. Again, I got in another kart that had been sitting. It wasn't out the race before, so I'm trying to get my tires warmed back up again. But this kart feels a little bit peppier than the first one. And we're going to see the person that was in the 10 the last race, basically they had like a gray top and green pants. We're going to see that person again in this race. And they were part of a group of, I'd say, about 4 to 6 people. So what ends up happening is after this race, there is a little bit of contact in this race, a little bit. But when I get up, I think the number is number 28. He was like the dad of the group, I believe. So after this particular race, my son finishes first, I finish second. Yeah, there's the cart right there that, again, we might have an issue with right there. Oh no, wait, we don't. But it's she's part of the same group. So after this race, I'm standing there just chilling, looking at the board, and that was my craziest move of the day right there, threading that needle. But, like I said, my son finished second, I finished, and my son finished first, I finished second, then there was nobody close to us. This guy in the 28 decides to come up and tell me that I need to be careful out there, or something like that, and I ran somebody off the road and pulled a pit maneuver on somebody. And I just, I stayed calm. I said, I didn't run anybody off the road or off the track. And I definitely didn't pit maneuver anybody. And he goes, well, you're the only one with a GoPro. So that was him identifying me. Now, again, I can maybe understand how if you have not been to a go-kart track, maybe you think that little teeny bit of contact was egregious or something along those lines. But again, no black flags were thrown for them or for me. So again, in my eyes, it's all good. You're at a go-kart track, you should expect a little contact when you're out at these, because you have people of different levels, and the people that are beginners should also be aware that there are people that are probably going to blow their doors off. So don't get all fired up if they gently touch you or barely bump you. Because as you can see, I am making efforts to not run into people out here. I'm getting off of the gas, it's messing up my lap times, but I'm still trying not to run into people as best as I can possibly do it. But still have fun. I'm not out there to just drive around slow with all the newbies. So I'm out there trying to lay down the fastest lap. I want to be on the fastest lap times of the week. So again, you see I'm blazing by these people. And this was a hard part to get around. The slow pokes just clogged this joint up right there. There was no really getting around. I had to get way off the gas, and this kid's pretty light, so he just blazes away from me once he floors it like he should, takes off, but then he screws up his corner, and I get under him pretty easily. Now we haven't quite caught up to the guy that's going to, basically have his discussion with me after this race. But again, I told him, I didn't run anybody off the track. I said it's all on video. If he sees this, I didn't really hold anything against him, but he was a little bit, I wouldn't say belligerent, but he was a little bit of a smart aleck about it. He's like, oh, you're a YouTuber. Yeah, let's run that back. Let me see that. That kind of stuff. And, really, not really called for. Because, as you saw, the only contact I've really had is that bump into the 10 in that first race, which was one of the people in their group. But I'm the one that got screwed up, and it was my fault. They just kept on driving. It was a little bump in the side, but apparently that, ruffled their feathers a little bit. So here's the guy right there. So he took a weird ass line right there, and I ended up driving in the dirt. Big deal. Like, again, it's a rental go-kart track. Everything's not going to go as planned. I'll be honest, he was probably thought he was going to be faster because his name was on the sheet was, I'm faster than you. And, I'm going to really not have much of an issue running him over. Although he kind of, again, I got off the gas. I could have stayed in right there and, pit maneuvered him right there. But I didn't. I got out of the gas. I don't even think I touched him. And then I gave him a ton of room around this section here. I gave him the whole inside. No big deal. Again, it's rental go-kart racing. And he had a pretty fast cart in the straightaways because I think he got pulled back even with me right here, but I kept my foot into it harder through here and got in front of him. But now we're going to come up again on two more of the females that were in their large group. And I think that one of them is maybe the mom of the group, and then another one of the, 16 to 22-year-old females. I don't know how old they were. But they're right in front of me, and I screwed that corner up back there so I didn't get up to them where I wanted to get to them. So here comes the egregious bump. Watch this one, ladies and gentlemen. Ba-boom! But as you can see, it really wasn't much of anything. And she, looked around like, the world was coming to an end a little bit. And I don't touch her there. And then I make sure I feather the gas, don't touch this one. And this woman just runs me off the track. So, I hollered, what are you doing? Or something like that. And then she got back on the track. Now, I did bring that up to them when they were talking about me running them off the track or whatever and pit maneuvering somebody, which none of that happened. I did say that, the only thing that I really kind of recall was that I yelled at somebody because they were running me off the track. And I said, you know what? I just yelled at you to get your attention. I don't care. I'm not mad about it. No big deal. I know that people don't see everybody out there. So again, maybe I sound a little bit, myself like a smart aleck, but, it's just kind of corny to me that you're going to go to one of these places and then get barely bumped up and then, want to confront somebody about it. But they did chill out once I had the discussion about the woman running me off the track, and that I didn't really care. It's just go-kart racing, Nobody talked anymore about it, and we just went about our business. And ran our last lap, and they were out there too, our last race, and that group was out there again, and nobody was running in anybody at all. It was pretty decent. So we're coming up onto the third race. On this one, like I mentioned earlier, my son finished first, I finished second, and then there was nobody even close to us. Now on this race, the guy, I'm going to say his name is Shaston. He's fourth place in the top pro skill at Dallas Karting Complex rental tracks, and he's got he's fourth of 271,611 drivers. Now, in perspective, I've only been there 7 times, and I'm in the 1,000s, but I'm still 99.5% percentile. So I'm better than 99.5 people generally when you go in there. But this cat's way up the board. Now he was actually wearing his driver's suit, like he was out there actually racing a K100. Decided he hopped on over to the rental car track because the old part of the track is kind of closed off also, where they're just running competitive club level go-karts over there, not rentals. And I think he was over there probably driving because he had his suit on, his own helmet, and all that good stuff. So he jumps out in this race, and what was kind of cool, and again, that's another one of the girls from the group, and again, said I don't know if she tried to blame me on that one, but that was all her. But they didn't say anything to me afterwards, so she probably realized she did that. But the Shaston guy is going to catch up with me. And what's cool is with the sun going down, the shadows, I could tell he was right behind me because I could see his shadow going around these corners right here. He's not to me yet, but the next lap, he's going to be right on me. And I had a pretty quick cart on this race. I mean, as you can see, we're just blowing people's doors off. But there were some people going crazy slow out there also. So again, I think that might be that's another. No, that's not a person from that group. Oh, but the Shaston guy wasn't paying attention and watching the shadows. He got past me right there. And he was actually, I think it's called threshold braking. I mean, I know he's actually braking late, stabbing the pedal as hard as he can, really briefly. You'll see him smoke the rear tires when he does it. And he's, able to put a little distance on me. But I started laughing right there. He did drive off in the dirt. But I think you'll see him smoke the tires down here when he hits the brakes, and he will go dirt deep, and he's using the brake to kick the back end around a little bit. But he does it so quick that it doesn't kill his momentum that bad. But at the end of the race, I finished second, he finished first. I was about a tenth behind him. So not too bad. I was, and I started, as soon as I saw him braking like that, I tried it a few times. But I didn't really get a full lap in because the race is going to end coming around at the checkers. So that's it. Again, I had a lot of fun. My son thought it was some of the best go-kart racing on an outdoor, rental track that he's ever been to. And it is pretty fun. I wish the karts were just a teeny bit faster, but they were still pretty decent. So if you're in the area, I would recommend heading out there. There's also the Lone Star Kart Park, I believe, which is close to Texas Motor Speedway. I'll probably put a video up from that one as well. It's fun, but I have to say I did have more fun at the Dallas Karting Complex. There were a lot more people. The track was much smoother. And because I think the track is smoother, the go-karts are not as beat up as they were at Lone Star. They were pretty clobbered up. These karts, not too bad. So we're pulling on in. Thanks for watching, everybody. Drop some comments on your experience between if you're a newbie or if you're an experienced kart racer. Tell me what you think. Thanks. Bye.